So this is the mountain hamlet of Wengen. We came from up there earlier today, and as you can see how it's socked in with clouds and rain. So we're gonna wait to go back up there until we get clear weather for the views that it offers. Today, we are going to head down into this valley right here. We're gonna walk up it. And there's some pretty incredible waterfall hikes down there. Probably hear those bells. All of the livestock on all these little farms here have giant bells around their neck. And there's a lot of farms. People have been living in these mountain valleys for thousands of years. So I'm not really expecting any deep wilderness, just epic alpine scenery. This place is loaded with all of these old mountain huts. And then the forests here are kind of similar to what we see in Washington, but yet the flora and fauna is completely different at the same time. We are almost down to the valley floor. And this U-shaped valley here has a ton of waterfalls coming off of those limestone cliffs. You can already see them. The rule of thumb is, it doesn't matter where you're at in the world, if the water looks like chocolate milk, it's coming out of a glacier somewhere. Guess there's something like 72 waterfalls in this valley. And we are about to go see just one of them. We heard was super duper cool. Here we go. We have arrived at Trummelbach Fall. In English, it says here there's 10 cascades inside the mountain that are accessible, and these cascades drain the glaciers of the Eiger, the Monk, and the Jungfrau. Let's go check them out. of that, Sarah?
That's awesome.
Kind of amazed by all the larch trees in this area and what it looks like in autumn. Alright, that was Trummelbach Falle. We were actually here last night and they closed at 6, right as we got up to the gate. So we had to go back to our room and we just decided to come back down here today. As you can see, the weather is quite wet, so it's kind of limiting us going to higher altitudes. Right now we are going to catch the train to Grindelwald, go see what we can get into there. That was worth it though. It was really cold and damp in those caves. I'm glad I had my woolen hat. And incredible waterfalls, just one after another, pouring over those limestone ledges. Definitely worth seeing Trummelbach Falle. We would not have known about it if it wasn't for two ladies on the train told us that place, good energy. We can't get over how green and lush it is in the bottom of this valley. And the contrasting limestone cliffs on either side of us make an amazing backdrop. You can just see some of these waterfalls. There's one right there. And we're making our way back into town. And if you see up here on these bluffs, right up there, that is where Wengen is, and that's where we're staying for our duration of our time here in Switzerland. This is the Alpine hamlet of Lauterbrunnen. We are on our way to catch the train and head into Grindelwald. I have to admit, the train system is superb here in Europe. They get you everywhere you want to go. And we wanted to go to Grindelwald, and we are here now. We're gonna go for a day hike up in that direction. When we get out of town, I'll have more details on where we're going.
Nächste Abfahrt Gleis 11 der Regionalzug nach Grindelwald Grund, Kleine-Scheidegg, Abfahrt 14 Uhr.
For all your mountaineering supplies when you're in Grindelwald, we have found the store and topographic maps. Hallelujah. Right, we are at the gondola station in Grindelwald. I think we're gonna take it up, and it goes up to that station right there, and then from there we're gonna hike up around this corner, and there's a hut up there from which we can see what's around that corner. But I can already tell there's a lot of glacial ice up there. When you reach the top of the gondola ride, you are stuck with this view, looking over all of Grindelwald down below. They literally just built the town on top of vast alpine meadows. And we are going to do a short little day hike up to a place called Baregg. Much different from the typical hiking trails that I'm used to. The forest is kind of similar to that in the Pacific Northwest, just less underbrush. You can't just walk through the underbrush in Western Washington. The Alps are definitely famous for their vertical walls. Getting a taste of that right here. This peak over here, that's the Eiger. We can't see its famous north face from this perspective because we're to the east of it. We just came across this creek here, and what's special about it, so you look up here, it is coming right out from under the rock, which means there's subterranean creeks of water flowing under these limestone cliffs. Came around a corner back there and we're greeted with this amazing view of where we're going. The hut should be just up around that corner over there. See Sarah right there. Look at all those glaciers. We have come up quite a ways, definitely feeling the altitude. Just look at all this. So surreal and foreign, literally. Never would have imagined that I'd be here someday. There's the flags. I think the mountain hut is right up there. It's got a couple more 100 feet to go. We have made it to the Baregg mountain hut. They really do a good job at accommodating people in the Alps. Lots of comfort between the trails, very accessible, and very comforting once you get to these places. There's Sarah inside the hut getting some hot drinks. I don't really know the names of a lot of these peaks around here, but these meadows are outstanding. And I don't know if you can see them, you might hear them. There are tons of sheep grazing. I think the Jungfraujoch is right up there, but the clouds blocking it. And then I've already pointed out the Eiger, and true to its nature, it's holding a lot of clouds up against it. Alright, our time at the hut, short-lived, but it was totally worth it. It felt really, really good to get out and do some real hiking on some real trails. Yesterday was more like paved paths and a lot of people. And we're really glad, after all of the hustle and bustle and fast-paced flying and train travel and gondolas. We got to stretch our legs, feel some altitude. I really sweat, probably a couple gallons of water coming up here. And when I got to the hut, definitely got pretty cold. It's not the warmest out right now, so I put on layers. We had hot drinks, snapped a bunch of pictures. Wish the clouds would have blown away and shown us some views of all the mountains around here. But forecast tomorrow is calling for bright, clear skies, nothing but sunshine. And we plan on heading up to Kleine-Scheidegg for another day hike adventure in the Alps. Shouldn't take us that long to get down. We've got to make it in time so we can catch the gondola down because we paid for it. And then we're gonna catch the train all the way back to our cozy mountain hamlet. We are back down in Grindelwald, where we started from. And it looks like the weather is starting to clear up a bit. It's kind of a letdown because we didn't get to see any of those giant, massive walls up in there. You can see that U-shaped valley, and that's what I was talking about. The sign said that the ice filled that 150 years ago. And then now the Eiger Nordwand starting to show itself. It's not this ridge, it's this concave section right here, covered with a lot of fresh snow, and hopefully we get a good look at it tomorrow. Well, good morning. It is our last official day here in the Swiss Alps before we head back to Germany and see our friends. We got an early start today because we got a very big day of hiking ahead. Right now we are currently hiking between our mountain chalet at Wengen up to Mannlichen. It's roughly 3 miles between the two towns and 3,000 feet of elevation gain. And once we get up there, it should be relatively easy and beautiful. We're heading to the Eiger. Not to climb it, of course, just to look at it. And hopefully we can catch the train up to Jungfraujoch, hopefully I said that right, which has the reputation of being the top of Europe, or at least the top of Europe that you can take a train to. We picked the best day for this. We have really good weather today. Last 2 days it was rainy, overcast, cloudy, and it's a bit cloudy today, but it is supposed to get bright sunshine this afternoon. Just an indication of how steep this trail is. This part of the forest really reminds me of Jasper, especially because of all this moss that's covering the forest floor and the types of trees that we're seeing, which aren't pine but some sort of fir. This is the trail. It's actually a real hiking trail, and then it's looking upslope there. It's really cool for this part of the hike. I'm really thankful for that because it's actually quite humid. We have broken out of the trees and it looks like we're in the subalpine zone. Lots of meadows around, and the GoPro is not picking it up, but up there in that meadow there's like a herd of deer. Hopefully the trail winds up there and we get to get a better look at them, because I haven't seen any big wildlife since I've been on this trip. Down here you can see Wengen, and then there's the Lauterbrunnen Valley. Yesterday, when we were taking the train from Lauterbrunnen up to Wengen, we shared our seats with a very lovely British couple, and they told us that the Lauterbrunnen Valley is the inspiration for Rivendell from Lord of the Rings. I don't know if any of you are Lord of the Rings nerds, but I definitely am. Tolkien, after the Great War, came to this valley, and it was his inspiration for Rivendell. So literally you are looking at Rivendell from the books, and it definitely looks like a place that dwarves and elves and hobbits would coexist. As you climb up, you start to notice all these obstacles, these fences and wooden tripods. Kind of reminds me of Omaha Beach in 1944, only it is not protecting against an Allied invasion. It's protecting the people down in those cities from big rock falls and avalanches. It breaks up all that energy before it gets down there. We have ascended the 3,000 feet from Wengen up to the Mannlichen Berghaus. There's a lot of people up here. You can access it pretty easily from any of the towns up here with the gondolas. The next leg of the hike includes a very easy stroll. It's a lot of bang for not a lot of buck. It's supposed to be very scenic. That is the Berghaus right there. And off we go in that direction. Way down there in the valley is Grindelwald, where we were yesterday. You can hear all the bells chiming from all the cattle grazing in these pastures up here. All right, now we're heading off to Kleine-Scheidegg. We're starting to get this amazing panorama of the Bernese Alps. Incredible. We're just rising up right in front of us. Kleine-Scheidegg should be right down there around that corner. We're kind of just taking a break right here before we head down there. And there it is. That's what I came here to see. The murder wall of the Eiger Nordwand. There's a lot of myth and history to unpack on that wall. And I'm going to try and point out some of the locations that I see from here. I think the Hinterstreuser Traverse is somewhere in here. Then there's Les Fischer Difficiles. There's 1, 2 snowfields, the Rotflue, the Death Bivouac, Traverse of the Gods over to the White Spider, and then there's the exit cracks, and you can't see the summit snowfield is up there. That's the hardest way to the top of the Eiger, but you can also climb its easier routes on the east and west ridges. We are mountain climbers, of course, but that wall is just a little bit beyond our skill level. A lot of rock climbing here in the Alps, in contrast to the glacier climbing on the big volcanoes that we got in Washington State. The stretch between Mannlichen and Kleine-Scheidegg is really easy, but really scenic. And we are almost to the town. It's right down there. Probably gonna get some hot drinks there and continue on with the next leg of our journey from there. Just look at this panorama. It is very obvious that the wonderful people of Switzerland love their mountains, and they want everybody to enjoy them. Very accessible. We have arrived at Kleine-Scheidegg. We are going to buy the train tickets to go up to Jungfraujoch. First, we're gonna walk up to the Eiger Glacier and catch the train there. The train actually goes into the mountain and it goes up to an observatory that's right there. Can't believe I'm actually standing in this spot. Read a lot of history and stories about the climbing in this area. After a lunch of bratwursts and beer, we are going to hike up to the Eiger Glacier and catch the train from there up to Jungfraujoch. We have made it up to the Eiger Glacier. To take a little bit of a break here before we catch the train up to the observation point. We have arrived in the subterranean bowels of the Eiger and the Jungfrau and the Monk, and we're taking the tour and trying to find our way up to the observation post. We have arrived at the Sphinx Observatory, and I believe I said down at Mannlichen that today would be a lot of bang for not a lot of buck. Well, it wasn't a lot of buck on my muscles, but to come up here was 85 francs a piece for me and Sarah. So I guess this is the view we get for the real bucks. And just look at this. It's quite a reward for not having to climb up here, but if we would have climbed it, it'd be more rewarding than having just ridden a train up here. This reminds me of what you would see in Alaska with these humongous valley glaciers. Absolutely incredible. Kleine-Scheidegg. Look at all the rolling hills of Switzerland. You can see down to Interlaken. And then over there, all the ridges of all the, I don't know, I guess foothills of the Alps leading down to the lowlands of Switzerland, France. This is Jungfrau right here. And just look at the glaciers pouring off of the south side of this. Really, just being up here is making me want to come back to the Alps and do some climbing and actually get out in those glaciers and do some roped travel. This just looks like a mountaineering paradise. Can't stop taking pictures of everything. So this is an ice tunnel. It's going to an ice palace. It is solid ice. I don't know if it goes through the glacier or if they have to carve it out every year. Who knows?
Wow, mega tough.
One last look at Jungfrau. We timed coming up here really good. Last 2 days, lots of rain and overcast and mist and clouds. We timed it just right.
And then you sit in your seat. It's on your back. They're going back down to the
In hindsight, I'm really glad that we ended up not taking the train back down to Kleine-Scheidegg, because all of the other tourists are gone. This place Had a lot of people earlier today on the way up, but all the shops close at 6, and everybody's going back to their rooms. And I think we're gonna hang out up here for a little bit longer, try and mosey on back, but take the long way. Look at this red fox that's down here hanging around the tables at Kleine-Scheidegg. So Sarah,
Yeah.
it's our last full night here in the Alps. This leg of our trip to Europe is over, just about.
Yeah.
What are your takeaway impressions at the end of this trip?
You definitely just got a taste of the Alps here. I most definitely want to come back. They're very beautiful, very picturesque. If you can view them without a lot of people around, they're very relaxing, like right now. Keep reminding myself that I am also a tourist here. I learned a valuable lesson going up to the observatory today. I thought I would enjoy it, almost as much as the climb, looking at the glaciers and really enjoying everything. And I found that a lot more enjoyment for me with climbing comes from the actual climb itself. It was very beautiful up there, but there was no sense of accomplishment, and it felt very different.
First up, I want to give a big shout out to the people of Switzerland. Every person we met that was from here during these hikes and during our time, absolutely just incredibly nice. They wanted to know where we were from and about our home mountains, back in Washington, and they were just full of information and full of encouragement and just really welcoming to all people. It felt really good to be a part of this here in their country. One thing the locals did share with us was that we should come back in September sometime. It's a very festive time of the year here for them. Not only are all the large trees in this area that we saw going to be turning golden brown, but they said that they decorate all their livestock with flowers off of their horns and on their bells, and they march them all from the high pastures down to the Lunenbrunnen Valley, where they winter them over there. And it's a big deal. It's a lot of fun. I guess they make a lot of cheese down there during that time. And it'd be kind of cool to come back during that time of the year and just check out the Alps as they go into autumn. Oh, this trip was all about dreams coming true for Sarah and I. I never even imagined that I would be standing here in the presence of the Eiger. I've read a lot of books, for instance, like The White Spider is a great book to read. It's a history of the climbing on the Eiger. Just filled my imagination with some of the horror stories and some of the triumphs on the North Face. And I know I'll never get a chance to climb it. It's a little bit beyond our league and our skill level, but just seeing it was definitely a dream come true. Be warned though, if you're gonna come to this area, be prepared for a lot of crowds. It wasn't so bad in other places, but going up to the observatory, it was very competitive to get a spot. Be prepared for people to literally push you out of the way to get in line to see the sights and to get on the trains and to get on the gondolas. We were waiting in line first, and there were people that just crushed us to get onto the train. So just be prepared for that. Show some patience, show some compassion, and everybody's here for the same reason, so just enjoy yourselves. From this point on, we're gonna slowly mosey our way down to Wengen. It's about 3 miles from here, a nice easy descent, and we're just gonna enjoy our last night, our last walk in the Alps until we come back for more adventure. Here's one last panorama of this awesomeness from our observation point right here. Everything's kind of shutting down, quieting down, getting ready for the evening. Those mountains are going to look incredible as soon as the low angle sunset hits those walls. And we are going to make our way along that path back down to our room.